The first thing you want to do is put the 4 pointed servo horns onto the servo drive shafts. Be very careful when you screw the small black screws in that you press inwards quite hard with a screwdriver. This will stop the star-pointed screwdriver tip from jumping in the head of the screw. If the screwdriver jumps or slips, that will strip the head of the screw and render it useless. Here you can see a close-up of the Tag continuous rotation servos. There are other makes of continuous rotation servos, but this type is quite powerful and fast, which is desirable in a competition robot. The reason why we put spacer nuts between the battery pack and the printed circuit board is because the wires sticking out of the bottom of the printed circuit board prevent the battery holder from resting flat on the printed circuit board, which means a spacer is required. The reason why we use plastic nuts as spacers is to prevent any possibility of a short circuit. Once the battery holder is mounted on the printed circuit board, place spring lock washers and then metal nuts onto the screws. Make sure you tighten the nuts up really well, which is why you want to use metal nuts in this position so the spring lock washers are squashed flat. Then the battery pack won't work loose somewhere down the line as you remove the batteries from the robot to recharge them. Notice how we use a screwdriver to hold the screws from the turning as we tighten up the nuts again. If the wires do not lie flush in the grooves, they may get in the way of the white block that will be used to hold the chassis together. Good idea to test putting the batteries into the holder, then switch the Primo controller board on and see if there are any problems. Now remove the battery from the robot because lithium batteries are very powerful and can pose a risk of fire if short-circuited. When you use a star-type screwdriver, always remember to hold a good quality screwdriver really firm and push it hard into the head of the screw so that it does not jump as you screw it in. If the screwdriver jumps as you turn it, it may strip the head of the screw. Tighten the screw until the white block is pulled firmly up against the red circuit board. You might have been supplied with blocks that are slightly smaller, in which case you'll have a little bit of extra space around the block. You want to file off the sharp points carefully where the printed circuit boards were joined to each other. Place a flat washer onto each screw, then insert the screw from the outside into the holes of the flange of the servo motors and then through the chassis. Then add a spring lock washer and a flat nut and tighten everything up. Do not completely tighten up the nuts and bolts holding the continuous rotation servos in place until they've all been fitted, or you might find it difficult to get some of the screws in. Once all the nuts and bolts are in place, tighten everything up so the spring lock washers are squashed flat. Then they won't come loose, but don't tighten everything up to the extent that the plastic flanges on the continuous rotation servo motor castings become damaged. A good quality of needle nose pliers and a decent screwdriver can make this job a lot easier because you have to reach into places that are quite tight. Loose. The large ball is used to balance the robot as the robot only has 2 wheels. Good idea to fit the drive wheels onto the robot before you fit the ball.